Hey there! In this week's video, I will be walking you through how to get enough protein in your day-to-day nutrition. So, if you're like many of us that have been very confused about how much protein do I need to get in perimenopause and menopause to lose weight and stay active and healthy, today I want to share 3 simple steps that I help my clients do to actually make this a habit to get enough protein in our days. If you haven't caught last week's episode, I share in that video how to calculate your protein requirements based on your individual goals. So if you haven't caught that video, please hit pause and go catch last week's video so you know how much protein to get for you in your day. So we can use that number to actually create a day full of protein and make it consistent in your meal planning. So here's a quick refresher if you need it. So the recommended dietary allowance recommends 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So for a 150-pound woman, it is recommended at the bare minimum to eat 54 grams of protein in her day. Now remember, this is the very bare minimum just to survive your day, okay? Or then on the other end of the spectrum is some of the newer research that has come out the last couple of years that looks at longevity, looks at perimenopause and menopause, and is also in the fitness world. So that recommendation falls at 1 gram per pound of body weight. So for a 150-pound woman, her recommended protein goal would be 150 grams of protein, right? So that's a huge difference there. So make sure you watch last week's video to really figure in and dial in how much protein, what your individual goals are around health and fitness and weight loss and building muscle and maintaining muscle. And once you have that number, then we're going to use that to walk you through the 3 simple steps. I do find most women that I work with, and myself included, find that sweet spot of about 80 to 100 grams of protein per day. That seems to be, once you're targeting that number, you can get really dialed in and specific and intentional with your meal planning to make that happen. So that sweet spot tends to be around 80 to 100, but according, again, on your individual goals, and again, if you have any underlying medical problems that affects your protein intake, make sure you check with your medical provider first. Okay. I am Nicole Dalton. I have been a physician assistant for almost 25 years now, turned menopause weight loss coach. I work with women specifically 35 and over to lose weight for the last time using all real food, no supplements, no products necessary in my program. So if you're curious about what it looks like working together, I would love to hop on a free call. I will share that in the show notes. Let's dig in here, okay? So I'm going to walk you through 3 simple steps. So it might be helpful to grab a pen and paper to write these steps down as you're starting to figure out, okay, now I know, I'm just going to use 80 grams of protein as an example here for, again, math's sake. But if you are a woman that is shooting to get 80 grams of protein in your day, we need to work through this to make sure you're actually getting 80 grams of protein in your day and making that consistently happen over time, because I don't want you to do this just for a few days. I want you to do this for the rest of your life, because creating habits is a huge piece of what I help my clients do to create a healthy lifestyle, not just another diet, okay? So the first step is I want you to make a list with 2 columns, okay? Animal protein and plant protein, okay? So 2 columns, animal protein, plant protein. I want you to list out all of the animal proteins you can think of off the top of your head. Okay. So for example, like some of my go-to, like I love following a whole food, mostly plant-based diet. And that's what I help all my clients do as well. But saying that, I haven't retreated completely yet from meat. I am working on that. But so in my animal column, I have meats, eggs, Greek yogurts, cottage cheese, okay? And you can list others based on your preference. And then if we switch columns now to plant-based proteins, this is where I find a lot of my clients, and I know this was all new to me even just a handful of years ago, is just a list of plant-based proteins, okay? There's some great sources of protein that comes from plants. There's tons. So a couple, just thoughts I'll throw out there that I put on my list: edamame, soy, which is tofu and tempeh. We've got beans, lentils, legumes, chickpeas, and quinoa. Quinoa is a form of a rice. It's a grain, but it has a lot more protein than if you were to eat a brown rice or white rice. So I feel like most of the women I work with are a little bit more unfamiliar with the plant-based proteins, but those are so important to incorporate in your day-to-day because it will also help you get some extra protein if you're not plant-based. If you're a plant-based eater, great. Oftentimes we're working on getting more plant-based foods in your diet to hit those protein goals. Okay, so now that you have your list, animal protein and plant protein, you've got a list of foods, okay? The second step is now to go back through your list and just simply write down how many grams of protein that each of those foods contains, okay? You can use a food logging app, you could use Google, heck, you could use ChatGPT, which is an artificial intelligence AI app. It's a free app on your phone. And I want you to write down next to all of your animal protein sources and your plant-based protein sources, how many grams of protein in each food, okay? And I would encourage you make a very robust list. I find that a lot of women just are getting more and more curious about plant-based proteins, and you might not have ever tried tofu or tempeh. I know a lot of my clients are trying it for the first time. I get super excited, or they're incorporating more beans and lentils and chickpeas in their diets, which makes me super excited because of all the great health benefits. So even if you're like, I don't know what a chickpea is, or I don't know what quinoa is, I would encourage you to get curious about it and just list it, because you can see how much protein you can get from some of these other sources. So you don't get all burnt out and sick of eating chicken every day, okay? And so then I want you to pick from your list of foods. So now that you have your list of foods with how much protein per each food, now I want you just to think of your day tomorrow, let's say. And I want you to do the math and see, let's just use 80 grams as an example here. Look at your foods and see what foods you would need to eat tomorrow to equal 80 grams of protein, okay? So just kind of circle those off your list so you know you need to focus on 3 or 4 different plant protein or animal protein sources to hit those goals, okay? So now that you've narrowed your choice down, now I want you to use that then to plan your meals around, okay? So if you know you're gonna have chicken for dinner, you can throw in some veggies and some grains with it. If you know you're gonna have some scrambled eggs for breakfast, you can also throw in a Greek yogurt. And you can also pair that with your snacks as well. So once you've got your protein sources, then use those to create your 3 meals and maybe a couple snacks for your day. And then lastly, to create a lifestyle here, we have to work on the habit. And this is really where I dial in with my clients that I work with, because I want eating 80 grams of protein every day to feel like brushing your teeth. What do I mean by that? We brush our teeth every day, morning and night, whether we want to or not, whether we're tired or not, whether we don't want to or not. We just do it, right? And we don't have to think about, now I have to open the cap on the toothpaste tube. Now I got to squeeze the toothpaste onto my toothbrush. Now I have to use my hand to open the water faucet. Now I have to get my toothpaste wet on my toothbrush, right? Like, that just sounds stupid. So we have built a habit of brushing our teeth where we don't have to think about each single step like that, right? So same thing here with getting enough protein day to day. A habit is breaking it all down, make it very simple step by step, and then practice and practice and repeat and practice again, and make tweaks as we go. Every day is not going to be perfect. I never expect that. Life is not perfect. That is not the purpose here. It's to improve our health, improve our protein so we can lose the weight, build muscle, and create that longevity that we're all hoping for. So to make this a habit and meal planning a habit, you can get really fancy with an app. Okay, a food logging app. And I know you're probably rolling your eyes at me because nobody likes to food log. I hear ya, I hate to food log, okay? But I love using food logs as a tool when you're getting very curious about what food you're eating and are you getting enough protein. You could write this down day to day, or a food logging app gives us more information and gives us more objective data. So I would encourage you get a food logging app. I love using Chronometer. Another one is MyFitnessPal, but use a food logging app and log your foods for a couple days. See where you're at currently with your protein goals and see, do you need to make some adjustments there to increase your protein? Or maybe you're eating too much protein, which is very rare. I rarely come across that. Most women are needing more protein in their lives. So get a food logging app, get curious about your current protein intake, and then when you get really fancy, pick out your foods for tomorrow. Make a plan what you're going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner tomorrow, and pre-log it in your food logging app. Actually, log it in today, what you're going to eat for tomorrow, okay? And you'll see how much protein you have planned in your day tomorrow, and then do it. Okay, and I get it. It's sometimes not that easy. Life can throw curveballs and changes in schedules. But if you don't have a plan and if you're not intentional with your protein, then it just doesn't happen day to day. So getting very intentional, having a plan, having it a very specific plan, and doing that for the next day, the next week is perfect. And then doing that every week, because you'll see how easy it is to stay consistent over time with having 3 simple steps in play that you just hit repeat every week. If you have found this week's video helpful, please hit a like, please leave me a comment, please share this with other women you know. If you are excited, have a friendly, fun competition. We are doing that right now in my menopause weight loss program. It's a 6-week strength competition, and we're having all sorts of fun. We're working out at home, we're working out at gyms, wherever it makes sense to you, to really focus on building that muscle and using all of these tools to make that happen. I would love to hop on a call. Schedule your call today, and we will get you started, get you losing weight, on the right track, building muscle. Have a great day.